Can you let me share my screen?
Are you not able to?
No.
Try now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hi everyone. My name is Rishi. I'm here for Tribes for Good, and today I'll be talking about some key science and engineering concepts that can help in uh, your everyday life and STEM. So we'll be in this section. These are some mechanical engineering concepts, and I'll be covering force, friction, potential energy, kinetic energy, and simple machines. So let's start with force. Force is a push or a pull, and it can do three things. So it can make something start moving, stop moving, or change direction. So let's say, opening a door, that could be a pull, uh, or a push. And for example, if you are if you're driving a car, you want to turn, that force is making it change direction. So when you're talking about force, it is very important to talk about like weight or mass, how we call it. So, if we're like, I'm sure many of us can relate, like when you're riding a bicycle, you're pushing it along like walking. It's very easy, right? But if you're trying to do that with a car, like it wouldn't work well because it's so much heavier. And this can be defined by this equation, which is force equals mass times acceleration. So the higher the mass of something is, uh, the more force is required to move, stop, or change direction. Friction. So if force is kind of like the go sign, then friction is the stop. And so friction in simple terms is the resistance that something experiences between two surfaces that slows it down or stops it. And friction can be used for many things. For example, the tires in the car, uh, and the braking mechanism of a car, which allows you to stop and slow down, right? Without it, like you would crash. And we can use friction in many different ways. And I'll play a video now to uh, show, basically. Yeah.
Friction allows this person to climb these boulders, and friction also allows you to strike a match. Welcome to Moo Moo Math in Science and Friction. Friction is the force that opposes the motion between any surfaces that are in contact. There are at least four types of friction: static, sliding, rolling, and fluid friction. Static, sliding, and rolling friction occur between solid surfaces, and fluid friction occurs in liquids and gases. Static friction occurs when an object is resting on a surface. The static friction between these boots and the snow allows this person to stand and shovel snow. When you rub your hands together, you experience sliding friction. When you ride a bike, you depend on the rolling friction of the tires. And skydiving depends on the fluid friction between the air and hopefully the parachute opening to slow the person down. Friction is used in everyday life. Sometimes you want a great deal of friction, like the gripping power of tires, and other times, like when you go skating, you want low friction so that you can glide across the ice. Most land vehicles rely on friction for acceleration and changing direction, and fluid friction contributes to aerodynamic drag, which is the resistance to forward motion, so that race cars are sleek and aerodynamic to reduce this fluid friction and go faster. Your shoes provide friction which allows you to move forward. Also, if the friction is really low, like on ice, it's challenging to drive a car because of the low friction. Skis on snow work the same ways, and the low friction allows the ski to glide quickly over the ice or snow. Sandpaper, on the other hand, works because its surface increases the amount of friction. Wax is applied to surfboards to increase friction and grip, and you put oil on chains and gears to decrease friction, and this allows the chain to work more efficiently. And finally, the wheels on this skateboard create a great deal of friction and allows these people to go up and down skateboard ramps. If you'd like to know more about friction, this playlist will help.
So that is a basic rundown of friction, and like you guys can see, like it's basically everywhere. Sorry.
Friction allows
So now I'll be talking about potential energy. And so potential energy is basically energy that is like waiting to happen. And it is usually based on an object's like position. So you can see here a rubber band. Like when you pull a rubber band back, it has potential energy because if this finger here, if you released it, the rubber band would go flying, right? So that is basically potential energy. And there is also like many types of potential energy. For example, here uh, at the top of the hill, this car has more potential energy because it is higher up and gravity will pull it down, right? Also, batteries have potential energy, and this is called chemical potential energy. And when we burn fuel or discharge a battery, we're releasing that energy to perform a task. So recognizing where energy is stored allows us to plan like how much work a system can do before we need to charge it, like a battery. And so, like the rubber band example, when you let the rubber band go, it'll go flying. And this is kinetic energy. And kinetic energy is the energy of anything that's moving. So, when you're going running, even like moving your hand a little bit, cars, airplanes, that is all examples of kinetic energy. And so when we talk about kinetic energy, um, we have to talk about speed. Speed is important because, for example, if there was a car crash at 60 kilometers per hour and 30 kilometers per hour, the car crash at 60 kilometers per hour would be a lot worse, even though the speed is only doubled. And we can see this relationship in this equation, which is KE equals half mv squared. KE is kinetic energy, m is the mass or the weight, and v is the velocity, or uh, in this case, we can call it speed. So since in this case of the car crash, the speed has increased by 2 times, the kinetic energy will increase by 4 times. And this is what makes the impact a lot stronger. So, how do we make our work easier when we use forces and energy? This is simple machines. So, these are basic tools that allow us to change the direction of a force. And they don't give us like free energy, but they allow us to use force much more effectively. For example, here you can see that there's an axe and it is trying to chop wood. If you were trying to chop the wood with your hand, it would be very tiring, right? You would have to use a lot of force. But here, we have this tiny square bouncing on the spring, and this is generating enough force so that the axe keeps hitting the wood. And so this is an example of a mechanical advantage. So while a machine cannot create energy out of thin air, it trades the distance here for effort. So, for example, if you have like a long ramp and uh, a truck needs to lift like a heavy box, you have to push the crate or the box like on a ramp, right? On a longer distance, uh, so that the force that you use on one moment is much smaller. So like sliding it kind of. And now that we've talked about some like mathematical concepts, we have to talk about like experiments and why this is important in engineering and STEM. So we'll be talking about these concepts over here. Sorry. Measurement. So measurement is the act of giving numbers to the physical uh, properties of object. So it's the bridge between an idea and like the actual reality of things. And this is really important because without measurement, we can't communicate our ideas like properly, right? Because, for example, let's say there are two workers doing construction and they don't speak the same language, or or let's say even if they do speak the same language, they're like, okay, so this brick needs to be long, and another worker says that this brick needs to be short. The project will fail because how are we supposed to know how big the brick is supposed to be? And this is why units are very important. And by units, I mean what we use to measure things. So like meters, kilograms, all of that. And more deeper into this topic is precision. So precision is measurement that allows us to detect like very subtle and small changes that we cannot see with our eyes, right? And for example, in an experiment to test like the soil stability for buildings, even measuring a 1 millimeter shift, which is like about this big, right? It can a shift this small can cause a collapse. So it's really important that we use our tools to our advantage for this because at the end of the day, a measurement is only good as the tool that we use to measure it. And so after we measure things, we have to uh, record the data. So recording data means basically you write down what you see in your experiment, and some types of this are tables, charts, or sketches. So recording data is about repeatability because because with one trial you're not going to get anything very useful, right? And good data recording also includes metadata. So you can think of metadata as data or information about the data that you are recording. And by this, I mean like what took the measurement, who took the measurement, uh, like the time of the day, and so on. And this level of detail is what allows us to get a successful solution. Uh, and after we record the data, we start to go to, sorry, patterns and predictions. So patterns are basically the repeating trends that emerge from uh, data. And since physics is governed or is caused by laws that don't change, um, if we see a specific result multiple times, then there's a high chance that it'll be there again, right? And seeing these patterns allows us to move from being like uh, reactive to actually being able to like think about what is going to happen next. And eventually we'll start calculating things. And from patterns, we can form predictions. And so a prediction is an evidence-based statement about a future outcome or result. And if our data shows that, like, let's say we're making a bridge, right? A bridge vibrates more as the speed of like wind increases. We can predict that like the higher the wind speed is, the more dangerous the bridge is going to be because it will become more unstable, right? And when we talk about predictions, we have to identify like outliers. So, for example, we do 10 uh, trials of a car going, let's say, 100 meters, right? And let's say or that's a bad example. So like, let's say you are putting, you're measuring the time it takes for a sound to reach from point A to point B with like a microphone or whatever. And if you see 9 out of 10 times the sound takes 5 seconds, and one time it takes eight, the 8 second will be an outlier, right? Because it's so different to the rest of the results that we should not use it for our predictions. And design iteration. Design iteration is really important since we use it basically in every part of our lives. For example, um, you know, you did bad on one exam or you played like bad in a sport or a play, right? You have to fix the problem, try again, and you will eventually do better. And in STEM projects, like example, your phone, laptop, everything that we use in our world, they never worked on the first try. And this video will kind of give a better idea of what I'm trying to say.
It's okay to fail. In fact, failure can be an important part of the engineering design process. When doing an engineering project, you might build something that doesn't work well, or doesn't work at all on the first try, and that's okay. The engineering design process is often iterative, meaning you might cycle through the steps of designing, building, and testing something multiple times. When testing, you can learn from your failures. For example, you can ask, when did my design fail? Where did it fail? How did it fail? And why did it fail? This can help you identify weak spots or areas of a design that need to be improved. Even if your design doesn't fail, you may identify aspects of the design that can be changed to improve its performance. You might literally wind up going back to the drawing board to modify a design or even start it over. It can take multiple iterations of designing, building, and testing for engineers to arrive at a final design. So remember, when doing an engineering design project, there isn't a single right answer that you're supposed to solve for right away, and it's okay if your design doesn't work like you expect it to at first. Be prepared to iterate, analyze your failures, and use what you learn to improve your design. For a complete guide to the engineering design process, click the link in the description.
So that is like a rundown and like a real practical example. So next we have logical reasoning, and this is obviously the most important, and it is basically thinking through a cause and effect, and this is before everything else, right? So it is like the bridge example. If if or let's say like you're in a lift, right? If you put more weight in the lift, eventually it will start like falling down, right? And this is basically cause and effect. Um, and there are two main paths. So there's inductive reasoning where we take observations like from our data recording, for example, and then we form a general like rule, uh, as like the example I just explained. And we have deductive reasoning where we take this general rule and then we apply it to a specific case. And logic prevents us from making like false correlations because just because like my football pump stopped working uh doesn't stop working when the sun went down doesn't mean like the sun is powering my my football pump, right? That is like illogical. And logical reasoning like forces us to isolate like um different aspects of our experiment and ask why at every step. And logic also avoid like cognitive biases such as confirmation bias. And what this basically means is when you're doing an experiment, right, and you are only looking at what you want to get, um, and you are ignoring everything else. So let's say like the bridge example again, maybe it was still at 100 kilometers per hour, but at 70 it broke. I think it's pretty easy to say that that's a fluke, right? And we cannot just ignore that just because the 100 kilometers 100 meters per second worked. And that's basically what it means. Now I'll be talking about something more fun and something that like we use in our everyday lives, especially with AI, ChatGPT, everything. And this is voice recognition. And this is like a longer video uh, to kind of explain this topic.
We are living in the future. Okay, there are fewer flying cars, moon colonies, and jetpacks than I imagined when I was 10, but we're still surrounded by technology, which pretty recently seemed like it could only exist in the realm of science fiction. And the most prominent example of this is computers we can talk to. Speech recognition has come a long way since its first incarnation in 1952. But progress has been surprisingly slow. Moving from recognizing individual words to full sentences took about 20 years, and honing that process to the point where it could be brought to the consumer market took almost another 20. But with modern advances in computing power, things have sped up a lot. And the launch of Google's voice search in 2011 and Apple's Siri shortly afterwards signaled the beginning of a new era for this technology, an era that is now in full swing. It's estimated that as of 2020, there are as many as 4.2 billion voice assistant devices being used worldwide, and that number is expected to reach 8 billion by 2023. But their increased ubiquity and improved computing power doesn't mean a free ticket to unlimited progress. There are still a number of significant challenges facing this technology. But before we talk about those, we first need to know how speech recognition works. This is a spectrogram, a visual representation of the frequency content over time in an audio recording. This audio recording, the brighter the color, the higher the concentration of that particular frequency. For example, if I make a s sound, you can see the concentration of higher frequencies here. And if I make an oo sound, you can see this blob of lower frequencies here. Linguists have been using spectrograms to analyze human speech for years, learning to recognize T's, B's, S's, vowel sounds, and even tell what someone is saying just from looking at the image. This is how speech recognition works. The computer splits the image up into slices, analyzes each slice, and compares it to a library of what it knows different sounds normally look like. It then works out what sound that slice is most likely to be and moves on to the next one. What's especially smart, though, is that it also factors in the analysis of previous slices, making judgments based on how words tend to be constructed. For example, if it's 90% certain this is a K sound, it's far more likely that this is going to be an A or an O than a J or a P. Now, looking at this process, it's easy to see why progress has taken some time. Most humans wouldn't have a hard time hearing the difference between the phrases, "Hi, I'm Adam," and "Hi, madam," for example. We have a lifetime of experience, but the spectrograms for those two phrases are going to look pretty similar. And while modern services use machine learning to train themselves on every new piece of audio they receive, they haven't caught up yet. Still, the most advanced speech recognition systems today have got down to an error rate of around 11%, which is pretty impressive. So, what's the problem? Well, it turns out that understanding what you've said is only half the battle. The really tough bit is working out what you meant. If I were to say, I closed the window in my room because it was too cold, most people would understand what I mean is, my room was too cold, so I closed the window. But it is ambiguous in that first sentence. Technically, I could be saying, the window was too cold, so I closed it. Humans understand the relationship between a cold room and an open window. and that the phrase "it's too cold" refers to our general surroundings, and that the temperature of a window is no reason to close it. So we deduce the intended meaning fairly easily. Computers don't have any of that pre-existing knowledge, which makes a sentence like that very difficult to interpret. This kind of phrase is known as a Winograd schema, named for Professor Terry Winograd, who first addressed this issue in 1972. And while this is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the problems computers have understanding natural speech, it does touch on the challenges that still lie ahead. And those challenges aren't only technical. There's the ethics involved in large companies using your voice recordings to enhance their AIs, and making profit from the datasets they collect. Plus, there's the problem of trust. Many people still feel uneasy about welcoming these devices into their homes. How these issues will play out in the future remains to be seen. Both Amazon and Google have publicly said that their speech recognition systems are inspired by and aspire to one day emulate the Star Trek dream, a computer that understands natural speech and responds in kind. And while no one is yet close to realizing that dream, in a time when machine learning and AI are constantly redefining the boundaries of what's possible, it might not be that long before it's in reach.
All right, so hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm gonna go a bit deeper. Uh, all right. So, um, the first step is you speak, right? And it captures these sound waves of your voice. And so, like, I know, some of you guys are wearing headphones, and it does the same thing here. It's like noise cancellation. So, you're on a train, you're listening to your music. Uh, it uses noise cancellation so that you don't hear like the train or people talking. You can hear your music, right? It's basically the same thing here, where the Siri, Alexa, Google, it will like cut out the background noise or the white noise that we like to call it, and it will capture these sound waves. And after this, it'll break down the sound into small pieces called syllables or phonemes. And think of these as like the atoms of sound, right? And it is like kind of like you have a soup and you split a soup back into their three different components, like the water, the salt, like the meat, you know. Then this is the hard part. It turns the sound into words. And so basically how this works is the computer will try to uh like guess what you are saying based off the sound waves, and it will use a probability system to calculate the letters that you said. And then, for example, based on those letters, it will predict what you're gonna say. Uh, let's say like I'm saying hello and it identifies the H. It's gonna be unlikely that I will follow up with like an X because that doesn't make any word, right? And it will probably look for a vowel like A-E-I-O-U. And and then after it does this, it will try to make sense of this command with natural language processing. And this analyzes these sounds that I was talking about with known words and phrases, and then it can check these with grammar and everything. After this, it will, like I just said, make sense of the command. So this involves like probability and maths. And so the AI will calculate like the distance between the words that you said. And so then that's how it can like separate the words. After this, finally, it will respond back to you, and this includes text normalization. So, for example, you say $10, right? It'll interpret that as $10, but it won't say that. It'll say $10. and then it will respond to you using a vocoder. And think of this kind of like the voice of the robot. So, when you talk to Siri or Google and then it speaks back to you, that's the vocoder. It's the voice of the robot. However, I think we've all experienced this. It does not work sometimes, and it might like interpret it wrong. And this is large part due to like words that sound the same but mean different things. So, for example, like write, so WRITE, so like I'm writing something with my pen, or RIGHT, like I'm driving on the right side. Um, and another big factor is accents or dialect. So, an an AI or a system that was developed in India, it will not be able to like understand other accents from like maybe Australia very well, since it's used to the way uh that we talk, and it won't be able to identify others very well because of the tone
Uh,
and the way that you speak.
Hi, I'm so sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. Rishit is here. Can you wrap up your presentation in
Yeah,
another?
this is
Yeah,
this is the last slide.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
And so yeah, those are some of the problems. You know, Finally, thank you very much. Thank you all for attending the session. I really appreciate the like the focus and everything. Um, and none of this would be possible without you guys. And I hope you learned something new today. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bhaiya, for the session. Like it was really interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Um, we have Rishit with us who will conduct the next session. Rishi, you can
Mhm.
leave and click your screenshot. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you can start.
Hello everyone. My name is Rishit, and today I'll be helping you understand what is AI. Like the how can it be used in good ways or in bad ways, something like that. So yeah. Let's start with the basics first. So what is AI? Imagine having a supercomputer which can help you do amazing things. So that's artificial intelligence, or AI for short. It's like a really clever robot that can answer your questions, create cool images, and help you learn new things. So here's an important part. Uh, AI is a tool, a computer program, but it is not a human being. It doesn't have a feelings yet, but it doesn't think like you, and it gives all its answers based on data. So you should not always trust AI. Here is one reason, because there have been many cases that AI is used as a doctor or as a therapist by many people these days. It's like they have considered AI as a friend, but it is not that. AI can give you information which is fantastic for learning, but these are the some things which AI is limited from doing. It cannot replace a real doctor when you are feeling unwell, or a therapist when you are feeling sad or worried. AI also cannot replace the wisdom and care of your parents, guardians, and teachers. So these are the people who truly understand the feelings, and they know they can think, and that is not AI. AI usually depends on the data which is provided to it. So it is always a good choice to go to a real person for important advice, or when you need help with your health or emotions. So next up we have generative AI. So what is generative AI? Content generation. AI model is capable of producing diverse content such as text, images, videos, audio, etc. All from simple prompts. This is often powered by extensive datasets and sophisticated neural networks like multiple supercomputers tutors talking to each other and recognizing complex patterns, which helps making these deep fakes, as you call it, or the like generate AI text, AI images, AI videos, etc. Uh, Tools like ChatGPT, Sora, 11 Labs are very user-friendly platforms and are widely used for creating content, AI-based content. This can be utilized in various sectors, including entertainment, research, media, content creation, marketing, etc. So there's form of synthetic media, like how and synthetic media means the media which is created by artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is now capable of gathering highly realistic and varied forms of media, images and artwork, cloned speeches, video, motion, text, articles, etc. So the magic behind and the trick, how fake content is made. It is amazing how AI can create or change content. It's like a digital artist or a super editor. For example, AI can take a normal photo and add a dragon to it, or make a video where a celebrity appears to be speaking a different language. I'll show you an example of this, of images created by AI. Just a second. So are you able to see? Wait, just a second. ChatGPT. Yeah. Are you able to see this?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll create an image of a human talking to a dragon. This is one of the ways in which AI can be used. There are many others. So this is an example. There are many different things which you can make. Any suggestions which I can try? No suggestions? I'll continue then. Yeah. So this is how basically AI is used. Well, usually it is used for funds, but now it has been started like it is started being used in some ways that it should not be used, like creating deepfake contents of someone, etc., something like that, or someone's voice. So there have been recent increase in scams, like the scammers using your voice to they call up your friends and ask for money and stuff like that. So yeah. So there are identity risk, privacy, and data risks. When you use AI, if you upload your own voice or your facial, your those data can be stored over the servers, and they can be exploited by it can be exploited by people to without like to scam. Basically, that can be exploited by people to scam you. uh, this is potential for widespread surveillance and creation of detailed personal profiles based on your digital footprints and non-consensual defects, which I've been talking about. uh, AI's impact on, so now from content creation, will go on its impact on jobs, automation, and skill shift. AI is reshaping the employment landscape by impacting tasks rather than eliminating entire job roles. AI's role automates repetitive workloads, freeing up human potential. Like AI can be used in marking the attendance. It can be used to do repetitive tasks like following up with clients or something like that. Augments creative and analytical roles, enhancing productivity and innovation. So AI has been started like it has started being used in code creation. So AI doesn't give proper code, like you have to rectify the code, but it has started being widely used uh, in coding, in design creation, in content creation, and stuff like that. So data literacy, these are the essential skills for students in the near future. Data literacy, understanding and interpreting the data, AI collaboration, working harmlessly with AI tools and systems, critical thinking, the ability to discern the truth and evaluate information sources, ethical decision making, navigating the moral implications of AI use. So, AI is now being it does not replaces jobs completely as of now, but but if you use it wisely and properly, it can be used as a tool by you to make your job easier. AI has not been developed to a stage to completely take over your jobs. AI is a partner, not a replacement. Sometimes people worry that AI will take away our jobs, that that's not how it works. AI is designed to help humans, not replace them entirely. AI uses Artists use AI to create new style ideas, etc. AI helps teachers. Teachers use AI to create fun lessons, activities. Also, it is being used to make papers or correct papers. AI helps scientists. Scientists use AI to discover new medicine and solve big world problems. AI helps game developers. AI helps coders. AI helps etc. Uh, Many people. It also helps students. It is now being widely used by students to make projects, to answer some basic doubts, etc. AI helps us focus on the more creative and human parts of our jobs, creating new opportunities. Responsible use of AI. Students must develop a robust framework for ethical and responsible engagement with AI technologies. Verify before sharing. Always fact check information before dismantling content, especially from AI sources. Check credibility. Critically evaluate the reliability and biases of both human and AI generated sources. Transparent academic use. Declare AI tool uses in academic work to maintain integrity and avoid plagiarism. Protect identity and data. Be vigilant about safeguarding personal information and digital identity online. Avoid over reliance. Do not solely depend on AI for critical medical or emotional advice. Human expertise remain paramount. As I talked about earlier, that AI should not be used as doctors and therapists. Uh, it does not has the expertise. to act as one. And while using AI in your studies, like even using Grammarly tools like Grammarly to correct your grammar and stuff like, and it's like, or using ChatGPT to write reports, it should be disclosed properly so that the teachers know that what you are capable of and how to guide you properly. Navigating the AI era. AI power and limits. AI is a powerful tool, but it is not infallible and has inherent limitations. It still cannot take over a complete task of an artist, of a coder, of a student. Uh, it uh, it has powers. It has power to create realistic synthetic media. AI generated content is increasingly sophisticated and difficult to distinguish from authentic media. Media literacy and ethics. Developing strong media literacy and ethical frameworks are as crucial as technological development advancement. User responsibility. It should be one's individual responsibility to use AI properly and uh, diligently, so that uh, so that the creativity of a human does not dies. Misuse and misunderstanding risk primarily stem from the misuse of AI and a lack of understanding regarding its capabilities and implications. So, I have an activity for you guys. So, I'll show you a few images and you have to guess if those are real or AI generated. Okay? Just a minute.
Hi, sorry, there was some network issue. Did you say something?
Yeah, I just am opening something to ask them.
Okay, perfect.
So, yeah, are you able to see this?
Yes.
So, which one of these do you think is AI generated?
Second one.
Second one.
Well, so yeah, well, that is correct, but how do you distinguish it?
It looks realistic.
Sorry?
It looks very realistic than the second.
Yeah. Well, here is another one. So now, out of these two, which one do you think is AI generated?
Second one.
Second one B,
Yes.
How did you distinguish this one?
because the
So
mountains are black shadow and the river is unusual. Uh, and that's it.
So now this one, which one do you think from these two?
B, please.
here, yes, B.
Uh, may I ask why? B?
Because like somewhere or the other, the second one is looking like a painting, little bit of. Or if you
So
see,
yeah,
yes,
yes, yes, yes.
if you
Continue.
if you see, natural things are not totally perfect, but AI generated things are looking quite perfect.
Yeah. So that is the main context of my stuff. So yeah, this part it looks a little AI generated, but in the near futures, the AI will be so betterly so developed with the data that it will start creating more perfect images will be which will be more uh difficult to distinguish. Recently, like today itself, I heard that there has been a new AI model made in China which can generate 4K resolution proper images. I don't have example of those because well, it's not available in India. That's why. So thank you. Well, this is the end of our session. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for the
Yes.
session, please.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you so
like
much for the session, please.
Yes. Yes, Mansi, please.
I want to thank you. Like it was insightful to differentiate different types of AI and like normal natural things. Thank you.
You. Yeah. I'm done. Yeah.
Hi, yes, I'm so sorry. There was again some network issue. Thank you so much, Risvit. I hope you all liked the session. I have clicked your screenshots. You all can leave the meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank